From downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at noon starts now.
A live look outside. We are starting to see clouds filling in, and we are tracking the potential for a snowy Thursday evening commute.
All right, Brandon. More than 24 schools closed as thousands remain impacted by this boil water alert affecting downtown Detroit, Midtown, Hamtramck, and Highland Park. And a DDOT bus crashes in downtown Detroit after the driver is attacked on board. But we do begin with breaking news out of Novi. That is where a barricaded gunman situation is unfolding. The gunman is believed to be inside of a condo in the 24,000 block of Old Orchard Road. This is off of 10 Mile near Haggerty. Police say that the 20-year-old male suspect appears to be alone, and the surrounding neighborhoods have been evacuated. All drivers are also being asked to avoid that area. We do have a crew that's headed there, Sky 4 up above, so we'll keep you updated on any developments both here throughout our newscast and on clickondetroit.com throughout the day. Meanwhile, also developing this noon, witnesses say that a DDOT bus crashed after the driver was attacked by a man who was saying strange things on board. While the driver was being assaulted, the bus drove right onto the sidewalk area of the Rosa Parks Transit Center. Fortunately, it was very early in the morning. No one else was hurt. Nick Monticelli joins us now with more on how it all happened.
Good afternoon. There isn't much damage left after this crash. There used to be a guardrail that the bus pushed and kind of twisted, but crews have removed that. You can also see there's a busted piece of the concrete bench here. All of this happened at about 4 o'clock this morning. In fact, you can see and hear the ambulance rolling up right after this happened. We don't know much about the assault. We don't know why it happened. We just know that it did happen. There was a DDOT driver on the bus. A man got on and started assaulting him. He didn't use a weapon. They just got into a fist fight. One witness says it was pretty bad. The bus driver had the guy in a headlock. Another guy, though, said that it was very scary what he was saying before and after the assaults.
Well, I just heard a guy kept saying they fighting, they fighting, they fighting, they fighting. And when I looked over there, I seen the bus driver and the guy that they got on the bus fighting. The bus driver had him,
as if he thought, along with the devil to steal, kill, and destroy, and that he wanted to see someone at his feet bleeding, and that he was sorry. He came through the door and said he was sorry after it happened.
Now, the suspect was arrested instantly. In fact, he was taken by handcuffs back into the transit center. That's when that man said he was hearing him say he's sorry and the rest of those things he was saying. As for the driver, as you saw, he was loaded into the ambulance. He is going to be okay. He just has minor injuries. And the bus route, they bought in brand new buses immediately, so that was never affected. At the Rosa Parks Transit Center, Nick Monticelli, Local 4.
All right, Nick, thank you. And we just learned that the driver has now been taken home and is recovering from his injuries there. Well, more than 50 schools throughout Wayne County closed today because of this boil water alert infecting the city. That alert was first issued late on Tuesday night, but continues to impact most of downtown Detroit, Midtown Detroit, Hamtramck, and Highland Park. Evrod Cassimy joins us now as hospitals and businesses, in addition to residents, are all impacted.
And Rhonda, Local 4 is in that impacted zone. We've actually not been able to drink from the water in the water fountains and have had to use bottled water for the past 24 hours now. Take a look at the map of the communities that are impacted. You can see the alert covers the area south of McNichols to the Detroit River and east of Linwood to Connor. That pretty much covers all of downtown, Midtown, Hamtramck, and Highland Park. Officials say that this advisory could last until Friday morning. It was put into place due to potential contamination of the system by a drop in water pressure. More than 24 schools have been closed today because of that advisory. And you can find a complete list of all the schools that are closed because of this and the impacted area on our website. Just go to clickondetroit.com for that. Evrod Cassimy, Local 4. Now back to you.
And unfortunately, we're hearing this could last until tomorrow morning, so we'll keep you updated on if there'll be any school closings tomorrow. In the meantime, what a difference a day makes. Boy, have we watched those temperatures drop. Brandon, at least we have some breaks in the cloud and some sunshine to get us through.
Partly sunny, but we do expect those clouds to be filling back in, and they will be dropping some snow in some places. Already are, depending on where you are, closer to Lake Michigan, sort of lake enhanced stuff. But look at these chilly numbers. 26 still in Pontiac and Lapeer, 30, City Airport and Harrow, Ontario. It's 29 right now over in Ann Arbor, 32 in Monroe. You factor in a little bit of that breeze and still up in Sanilac County, single-digit wind chills. Man, yesterday, upper 50s, now all of a sudden this. We've got teens and low 20s, and that's pretty much how it will feel the rest of the afternoon with the clouds filling in. I think by 4 or 5 o'clock, we're going to watch some areas of snow that are a little bit heavier. Bad timing because of the evening commute. Temperatures, again, in the low 30s, feeling more like the 20s. Here come the snow showers out of Lake Michigan and over toward Grand Rapids. We're seeing a few flakes and flurries right now up along I-69 near Lapeer. This shouldn't do much other than just a little festive snow, but we do have sort of a reinforcing cool front that is coming through later this afternoon and this evening. And Rhonda, right along the I-75 corridor, 696, right during the evening drive, could be a little bit of trouble. We'll have more on the cool continuing coming up.
All right, Brandon, we'll see you here in a few. In the meantime, a Detroit man will spend at least the next 29 years in prison after being charged with torturing and sexually assaulting a Detroit woman. 50-year-old Alex Moore was charged with torture and assault with intent to murder last September. Police say that that's when Moore beat and sexually assaulted a woman at the intersection of Schoolcraft and Hartwell in Detroit. Today, Moore was in court for his sentencing, where he was ordered to between 29 and 50 years in prison. The Detroit Policy Conference is happening right now at Motor City Casino's Soundboard, where city leaders are meeting to highlight and celebrate Detroit's economic resurgence. The conference started at 7:30 this morning and will continue until 4 o'clock this afternoon. Detroit Police Chief James Craig, along with Wayne County Prosecutor Kim Worthy and Chris Illich, are all expected to speak. This morning, one of the women working most closely with Detroit's urban development said other cities are looking to Detroit as an example.
Detroit Future City, its process and its outcomes have changed the game of urban planning, and others are looking to emulate you.
Along with celebrating Detroit's resurgence, speakers at the conference will also be discussing different ways to keep improving the city. I'm looking forward to moderating one of those panel discussions myself this afternoon. Later today, there will be a public meeting to answer questions on the Q line. You know, the M1 rail. That meeting will run from 5:30 to 7:30 at the Villages of Brush Park Manor in Detroit. It will cover Q line operations, testing schedules, as well as how to share the road with the rail cars. We have to learn how to do that if you're going to be driving or even riding a bike along Woodward Avenue. Still ahead, a beer truck driver loses control on his way to a delivery. New at noon, and video captures the moment. Thousands of beer bottles spill all over a busy freeway. We'll have more on this when we come back. A teacher puts up a billboard slamming his school district. The message he has for his bosses and why he has a ton of support. But first, Attorney General Jeff Sessions under fire for failing to report a meeting with the Russian ambassador during the election. What top lawmakers are now demanding. And keeping you abreast of our breaking news out of Novi, where police have surrounded a condominium complex because of a barricaded gunman. This is the 24,000 block of Old Orchard Road and the area of 10 Mile and Haggerty. Police say that a 20-year-old male suspect appears to be alone and surrounding neighborhoods have been evacuated. We'll keep you updated on the developments there. We'll be right back.
Starting today at 4 o'clock, our Help Me Hank phone bank will be open. Tax and financial experts answering your tax-related questions. Also today, starting at 5 o'clock, a new tax scam that is already costing some people big money. What you need to know to protect yourself today, starting at 4.
These days.
And welcome back, everybody. Today, a major development in the ongoing investigation into the involvement of President Trump's inner circle with Russia during the election. A spokesperson for Attorney General Jeff Sessions has confirmed that Sessions did meet with the Russian ambassador, but failed to disclose that during his confirmation hearing. Blaine Alexander has more from Washington.
NBC News. This morning, Attorney General Jeff Sessions on defense.
Well, I have not met with any Russians at any time to discuss any political campaign, and those remarks are unbelievable to me and are false.
Sessions forced to defend his statements during his confirmation hearing
The whole truth.
Saying under oath that as a top Trump campaign surrogate, he had no involvement with Russia leading up to the election.
I did not have communications with the Russians.
During that hearing, Senator Al Franken asked Sessions repeatedly about Russian involvement, which Sessions denied.
These are contradictory statements, and I think that he should immediately recuse himself from any of this.
Today, lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are calling on Sessions to step away from any investigation into Russian tampering with the election.
I think the trust of the American people, you recuse yourself in these situations, yes.
I do think he needs to clarify, and I do think he should recuse himself, absolutely.
Well, I've said that whenever it's appropriate, I will recuse myself. There's no doubt about that.
But some Democrats are going a step further, calling on Sessions to step down.
He certainly should recuse himself. I think he probably should resign.
Still, some Republicans continue to back Sessions.
I think what we're seeing is a lot of political theater.
And the White House is dismissing it as a partisan attack. And in a statement, the White House went on to say that this is an attempt to draw attention away from what they call a successful speech by the president. Blaine Alexander, NBC News, Washington.
Detroit native Dr. Ben Carson has been confirmed as head of the Department of Housing and Urban Development. The full Senate held a vote this morning approving Dr. Carson in a 58-41 party line vote. Dr. Carson will be replacing Craig Clemenson, who has served as housing secretary since January 20th. Over in Philadelphia, a teacher calling out his school district with a gigantic billboard right there in the city. George Bazanzis teaches in Philadelphia and says that he hasn't gotten a raise in over 5 years. Clearly fed up with the situation, he crowdfunded more than $5,000 to pay for a billboard that he says "Welcome to Philadelphia, where we don't value our public school children." A spokesman for the school district says that they are working with the teachers union to create a contract that works for both teachers and students. We have some new video out of Nevada that shows the moment that a truck lost control and spilled thousands of beer bottles all over a busy freeway. Take a look at this. State Trooper Travis Smaka. He was questioning a driver on the side of the freeway when he heard the sounds of screeching wheels, and then moments later, thousands of beer bottles and cans came flying out of a semi-truck that lost control. While both the driver and the trooper were okay, they want to make sure that this doesn't happen again.
When you watch the video, it is a little amusing, but at the same time sends a serious reminder of what happens on the freeway when people do cut in front of semis.
Certainly does. For the next week in Nevada, troopers are going to be riding in semi-trucks, looking out for drivers who might cause a similar accident.
New at noon.
A creek mysteriously turns neon green. What the city is saying about the drastic and sudden change in the watercolor. Brandon, that's not the Chicago River on St. Patrick's Day.
Some shamrocks up to no good. We have some green on our map here as well. Livingston County radar doesn't know quite what to make of this, but sub-freezing temperatures, light snow. We're going to stay cool for a little bit, but hint, a little warming this weekend. Stay right there.
He's dedicated his life to helping the poor, the incarcerated, and the condemned.
You're never too young to actually do something to stand up for the rights of other people.
Brian Stevenson is a widely acclaimed human rights attorney, and he has a message for some local school children.
We have to understand that this legacy, this history, is part of the story of what it means to revive a community like Detroit.
The conversation he says America needs to have to truly thrive. That story tonight at 11.
The clearance.
Oh, welcome back, everybody. So we had a little setback in that spring-like weather, but it's going to come back.
It is, and then it's going to go back down, and then it'll come back, and then
it'll go back down. I see. There's a pattern here. It's cold out.
It is. I was trying to think of that. What's that line from that commercial? Like, I put things down and pick them up.
Yeah.
That's what what our forecast is doing. 31 degrees right now. It feels like 22. That's your wind chill, and that's for the exposed skin. If you don't have gloves or a scarf on, you can certainly feel that. A lot worse. Gets dangerous after a couple of hours. We have this again tomorrow. So a couple of days in a row, if you're out there without the layers on, I know it's not brutal cold, but compared to the last couple of days, you'll feel it for sure. Near 35 degrees today at best. The clouds are filling in. Flakes and flurries, a few out there, but I think we'll get some heavier snow showers and or squalls of snow as we head through the early evening hours after 4 o'clock. So 5, 6 o'clock right during that evening commute. And the way the model sets things up right along I-75 through Oakland, Wayne counties, maybe 696 through the area as well. So we need to watch out as folks are coming and going for the evening drive. Right now, you see the cloud cover over us, and again, seeing a little bit of light snow here coming through southern Livingston County. So if you're driving out 696 to 96 out toward Lansing, you might run into some of this, and certainly anybody driving closer to Lake Michigan will run into some heavier snow squalls. Those winds coming out of the west-northwest enhancing the cloud cover and the snow chances west. We have a cool front. This is actually a trough extended to an area of low pressure. It just means it's a secondary cold front, a little bit weaker, and it will push down in our area, reinforcing cool air again for your Thursday or your Friday and Saturday. We have the winds coming from the north, and this again will just keep some of these snow shower chances pouring in off of Lake Michigan, not only once but twice. In the overnight hours, all said and done, less than an inch in most locations. But you see some of these darker shades of blue, as mentioned, 696, I-75 heading to the north. This is not a big widespread event, just wrong place at the wrong time for that evening drive. Here's that secondary push through the overnight hours of some snow where a few areas could certainly get reduced visibility and a quick coating on the roads, which is why we bring it up. It's not a big snow, but just poorly timed, and you may run into some slick streets tomorrow morning. Most of your Friday is dry. It is cool, though. We still have that breeze around, so wind chill's a bit of an issue. Saturday, still cool. As we get into Sunday, finally starting to warm things up. We're on to back into that 50-degree range. A little bit of light rain around on Monday, and a stronger line of storms possible Tuesday. We get some of that spring warmth back, 60 degrees, a cold front coming in, so we could get some intense action on Tuesday. We'll keep you updated.
All right, Brandon. All right, now to the Green Sea. Well, let's take a look. Authorities have now figured out what caused this creek in California to mysteriously turn neon green. On Wednesday afternoon, someone poured neon dye into the small river. And while it may look a little like antifreeze, environmental experts say that it's actually a non-toxic dye used actually by the Coast Guard in life vests to locate someone lost at sea. The city manager said the discoloration may have been a practical joke, but he noted it's not nearly St. Patrick's Day yet. It's too early. He took several hours. Apparently it took several hours, but eventually that creek returned to its normal color. Still ahead this week, a small English town held one of the more unusual traditions you'll ever see. Here's a sneak peek. Any idea what they're doing? Why, everyone in this town was involved with what looks like it could have been a massive brawl.
Replay song.
Take a look at this, everybody. Hundreds of people in England took part in one of the more unusual soccer matches, is what they call it.
Every year on Ash Wednesday, the people of Ashburn participate in this unusual match. The game pits the northern side of the town against the southern.
How am I supposed to follow that?
Is that all right?
While they call it soccer, the goal of the game is actually to throw a ball against a monument, if you can tell.
Yes.
This year, the Northerners apparently won the match against
Usually nobody wins.
1-0.
But go north.
Yeah.
Yankees.
Woo, we're in the north.